Good afternoon. I'm Pius Yosefe, founder Hamilton Black Film Festival. Today, I'm with a film producer, the writer, producer, and director of award-winning film CATHARSIS, uh, Lawrence Law Watford. He's here with us today. But before then, I will have to do the land declarations. I'm sitting in my beautiful home, a land situated. I'm sitting on my beautiful home, land situated that belongs to Erie, Neutral, Huron Wadet, Hudonsonins, and the Mississaugas. So, as we continue this interview today, there are certain questions as I want to ask you. When did it occur to you? It came to a point that you said, you know what, this is enough. I have to write this script. I have to do this.
Uh, I think it occurred to me years earlier to kind of to ask the question, what would happen if people were, I guess, fed up enough? They were tired of that circumstance, and if there had been uh, a case that warranted, where a parent was truly affected enough and felt like they had nothing to lose, you know, would they would there ever be a point where someone would make that statement? And um and you know at first, when you have an ideal to do something where the whole point of it is that it's like oppressed people taking revenge, you kind of you get a little scared of it, because you're wondering, am I putting something out that could be seen as socially irresponsible, right? If, or something that's seen as promoting violence, you know what I mean? um,
I got you.
as a means of fighting violence. But after a while, and seeing so many police brutality cases, it becomes almost irresponsible to not raise that question, because it will be an eventual reality if there isn't change.
Yeah, for those who haven't watched this film is called Catharsis. It's a film that talks about police brutality and cover up. So we're going to talk about how the DA, Mr. Wally, and the ADA, who was the assistant, was trying to make him understand what is going on in his department and how he refuses. So tell us about that.
Yeah, so I specifically wanted uh, to portray the DA as someone who I think is more typical of folks who are in the justice, quote unquote, justice side of it from the legal angle. And we know that there are, instances, or it's probably more of the norm, where prosecutors make deals and have arrangements with police, um, that operate in such a way that they don't, they feel that if they go after police in these cases, that police will, in a sense, retaliate, will be less cooperative in helping them achieve certain prosecutions, that they'll be less helpful in those circumstances. So there's almost this, I don't know, inherent quid, quid pro quo relationship, I feel like, that exists in certain departments. But certainly, just like you have Black and Hispanic and minority police officers, you also have minority DAs and assistant district attorneys. And I wanted to kind of show that dynamic, where there is somebody in there who's like, I get why you're doing this. I get that you may have ambitions to seek higher office, but this is a case where you shouldn't risk that. And just for there to be some tension, you know, and for him to have a voice who was kind of like a conscience that he chose or chooses not to listen to, and someone who foreshadows that there are consequences coming if you don't, you know, change.
My goodness. So you see, the DA was so reluctant to disclose everything, to announce this. He was waiting after the Christmas, or after the Christmas. He wants to enjoy his holidays, all right? And so, can you
Right.
tell us about that? why, you wrote this script. I know you fed him all these dialogues, and you know what your state of mind when you were writing this script. So can you
Mm-hmm.
tell us a little bit how you were able to bend it so that this can happen after the festival, after the Christmas celebrations?
Yeah, I wanted him to be kind of indifferent because I think that that's probably more or less the MO for prosecutors who act that way. That it isn't as much malicious as it is just indifference. But the indifference to me is almost worse because I feel like the maliciousness carries with it some level of intent and intention,
Yeah.
whereas the indifference carries this dismissive, like you're not even a person. Like to be malicious towards somebody, I have to view you as something worthy of attention. But to be indifferent towards you, to swat you off, like, yeah, I don't want to deal with it. I want to enjoy my holiday. Like,
Yes.
you know, to minimize humanity, to minimize a person's humanity in that.
That's true. That's true.
I wanted to make it clear because I think that that's kind of what it is. I think it's uh, generally white prosecutors who are very tunnel focused on their career, their advancement, their prosecutorial record, their futures and their families and their well-being. And again, are just blind and indifferent to the suffering that is happening and their role in perpetuating. The idea is that if you prosecute bad officers, then officers will be less bad. They will change their behavior. But if they know that there is no legal ramification for their violations of human rights, you know what I mean, and civil rights, then you're like the last vestige of hope in a sense. And if you don't, and in fact, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, then they'll turn to other alternatives to fulfill that hope.
I can see. I can see. Okay, there's another part here. I heard the DA, Mr. Wally, was talking to him, saying, "I'm getting it from both sides." You know. And so,
Mm-hmm.
which side do you think is? I'm getting from both sides. If you are standing on the path of truth, you know what you are doing. You just focus on the reality, the truth. All right.
Right.
But he keeps
Right.
saying, "I'm getting from both sides." I know you wrote that. So I try to think the way we're thinking, we're writing the script. So just let us know why you
Mm-hmm.
put that in there. I'm getting from both sides.
Because I believe in New York and in these major metropolitan areas that's how it happens. Like our mayor De Blasio uh, came in as sort of a person who wanted to really be a reformer of policing, and in some ways he was willing, uh, especially in the beginning, to challenge the status quo. But he began to get it from both sides. He began to catch a lot of heat from the police unions, who have an undue amount of influence politically. They have almost a on-demand platform to rail against, the mayor, and then at the same time, he's getting it from progressives and folks in the Black community. But in the end, as far as this DA goes, he erred on the side of the more politically, I would say, the more politically centered and formidable uh, and unified body of policing and law enforcement. And I think that that's what happened.
Okay, that's great. Let's talk about your lead actress, Gina Morgan. And she played a role. She played her role. She was right on top of her role. Playing that character. So, how do you cast her?
Well,
I think
Genia is
she
actually,
was the
go
best
ahead.
person for that role. Yeah, that was the word I was missing. Yeah.
Yeah, Jeannie is a friend of mine, and she was I've known her since before we were working together. Actually, we met at the American Black Film Festival maybe well over a decade ago.
Wow.
Uh, but sometimes I write with people in mind. So when I came up with the idea and I made up in my mind, like, yeah, I want to make this film. I want to make it soon. I want to make it now. I immediately just wrote and thought of her. Like it was like no one else. And I'm also someone, especially like for friends who are actors, like I really want to be, I want them to think, hey, this is the best director I've ever worked with. Or this is one of the best directors because, you know, I want to push them to dig deeper, you know, and if I know their body of work, and I like survey their body of work, I want to make sure that I push them to a limit that in my mind is Academy Award. Yes, this is a short film. Yes, it may or may not make the festival circuits, but for what I want it to be, to whatever degree we can, I want it to be excellent, and I want to push you to that degree. So, and you know, fortunately, you know, she's willing to like, you know, let me push.
Yeah, she wowed me. So I think she did great. You know, when she was there with the family, I can see Richie Wiley. She was so panicked. All right, and
Mm-hmm.
the wife as well. So there was a question that stood out there that the DA asked Gina. He said, "Can you tell me your relationship with the person you're talking about, the victim?" And
Mm-hmm.
the way she answered him, you know, he said, it doesn't matter who the person is. You know, I know
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's your story. You know, look at that scenario. Somebody is dead. Now you are asking whether your relationship between you and that person, if you can tell me, then I will act. At first,
Right.
everybody, we are human beings. So can you
Right.
let us know why you put that in there as well?
Yeah, and that was the, and the delivery of that line was really important as well because
Very, very, very.
it was so the cases are so numerous, and we wanted there to be a couple of things. We wanted there to be a sense that he had such a track record of doing this that he couldn't readily like match the face or readily think of three people it could have been. That it was just such a track record that he needed help narrowing down which travesty of justice he participated, you know. And then we also wanted to give to show the irony of him still thinking that in this scenario that he was the authority, that he had the power. At this point, the power has left. You know, he doesn't, it doesn't matter who it is, and it shouldn't matter who it is. The point is you've acted in these ways, and it doesn't matter what you think you can do to rectify the situation because you can't. You can't rectify. And to be honest, you wouldn't rectify it. If she lets him go, he's not going to go back and look at the case and reopen the case, you know. But he's willing to say, like a politician who's getting it from both ends,
Yes.
whatever he can to survive the encounter, which is what we tell our Black boys in particular when you are faced with a police interaction. Say whatever you got to say, be respectful, tell them whatever they need so you can survive the encounter and come home.
Well said, man. Because when I saw that scene, when I was listening to it, I know it meant a lot in that story. That's the reason I'm trying asking questions about that. So now let's talk about Gina again because she really played her role. You know, she was calm. You know, she answered every question. When she gave Richie to tie himself, all right, and I took him to the door. No, at first he asked the father to paint his face. Now
Mm-hmm.
let him say, "What am I going to do?" You try, you know, keep doing it. All of a sudden, I don't think he realized what she was doing then. I think
No.
after she called the cops, probably, right? And
Yep.
when she was here, so why did you allow Gina to leave after she called the cops? Is it because
We
she's a person? No, no, African American. She's black. She has to leave before the cops comes here, or you know, because I was going to ask, I was your intention. After you tie him, you leave. All right, all
right.
right. So why was that there in the scene? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we wanted her to kind of like essentially, to whatever degree, be able to escape the consequences of her actions,
That's right.
the way these police officers are able to escape the consequences of their actions, you know. And with her not necessarily identifying herself, we the whole idea is that hopefully you walk away with the sense that yes, maybe she will get away, maybe she will flee, maybe she will escape, you know. But that was the whole idea, that she's come in, she has acted in a way that has cost your child their life, and then she's going to escape consequences. That's what it feels like.
Okay, I get it now. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm speaking to one and only Lawrence Law Watford, the producer and director of Catharsis, a film that talks about brutality. You can watch this film and think about your community as a black man, how you walk down the street, how you conduct yourself in an environment that is so hostile. So what I'm saying here is that the movie itself is like telling somebody to wear the shoe on the other leg, like different culture. Like I think Mr. Walid didn't understand how the magnitude of all these things that is going around, because he's just playing, trying to build up his political life and everything. He didn't so much give a damn. Let me say that. So, and when you watch it, when the son was tied to that post in the house, and the cops were coming, I think he started to realize, painting his face, and now the cops is coming, and he was just yelling his lungs. You can see how he's yelling because now it's occurring to him. All right, this is his
Right.
family now. Something might go wrong here. He was just yelling. It became a different man entirely. So can
Yeah.
you tell us a little bit about that as well?
Yeah. I mean, well, we wanted a couple things. We wanted there to be a clear connection that um, the wife had, who was played by Jamie Ragusa, with Gina. We wanted there to be this connection between mothers,
Yes.
right? This kind of conflict that causes sort of internal conflict within both of them, right? Genia as a mother knows what she's doing, and it hurts her to do that. Like she knows she's about to cause pain,
Yeah,
but for her, there's a moral cause,
that's right.
which is, often the reality of freedom fighting movements that particularly anywhere there's violence. There's a moral there's a moral legitimacy to the violence that's conflicting to any
That's right.
moral person. And to Jamie's character, the mom, I think she understands kind of where Jeannie is coming from, because she understands the the moral failings of her husband in causing that kind of pain to her mother. And so there's a realization of what's happening early on in the white mother, who could not speak. And that was intentional, right? That her voice is silenced, right? That she feels this pain, but her words, her ability to communicate to change the situation is null. Like that's symbolic, you know. And as a result, the district attorney, he's the last one to understand what's happening, you know. And we wanted there to be this continual, slow, and very gradual elevation of his understanding of the situation that he's wrought for himself, that he that you know that he's reaping what he has sown. And when he finally when it clicks, all of a sudden his screams are exactly or very similar to the screams of the mother in the beginning, which is, those are real screams from a real police killing in Philadelphia. And I wanted there to be this booking, that same screaming, that same no, 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 You hear it countless times when you watch these police brutality videos.
That's right.
These screams of, what did you do? What are you doing? No, I can't. I don't have the power. What's happening? So that was the object behind that.
Thank you, Lawrence. I enjoyed the film and it was written and well directed. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about Catharsis, an award-winning film directed by Lawrence Lord Watford. Thank you for joining us today, and we have many years ahead of us to do great things, and so I'm very happy that you're a part of our festival, and your movie
Thank
won
you.
the award, and we believe in inclusiveness. Hamilton Black Film Festival, we want that inclusiveness to flow to go more beyond our expectations, so that we can all come together doing great things every year. So it's nice talking to you today, and I hope to chat with you soon, right? Um, I'm
Thank
Paisley
you so
Joseph.
much. Thank you, guys.
I'm Paisley Joseph, founder Hamilton Black Film Festival. Talk to you soon. Bye now.
Bye bye.